Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with Traders Summit, and with me today I have one of the co-founders of Alpha Mind, Stephen Goldstein. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you. Great to be here.
It's great. It's great to have you here, and it's great to see you again. I wanted to tell the traders at home, my first experience with Mr. Goldstein was actually listening to your presentation on the Traders Summit, our online conference that we had last year. And I was fascinated by your topic. And I'm always fascinated by trading, trading coaches, some people will call them trading psychologists, but I really look at you as somebody as more of a trading coach and to help traders along their journey on being successful in the market. So tell us a little bit about, your background and why I, as a trader, should listen to Mr. Stephen Goldstein.
Okay, so you're right. I'm a trader's coach, a performance coach. I'm not a psychologist. Obviously, I delve into those areas. You do as a coach.
Sure.
I've actually had a background in trading where I was a professional trader for 25 years in the investment bank world. Worked for some, I suppose you could say, pretty big names out there: Credit Suisse, Commerzbank, American Express, the banking arm for American Express. And I was involved in market making roles, in proprietary trading roles, predominantly in the foreign exchange and fixed income space, more widely known as global macro. And I did that from the mid-80s up till 2010. And then I had a career change. I suppose you could say it came around as a number of, almost by chance originally, but I decided to develop myself as a coach, a performance coach, an executive coach, with a view that I was going to work with leaders and managers because that's what executive coaches do. But naturally, having that trading background, I found myself drawn towards doing a lot of performance coaching, helping people that I've known in the markets for many years, working with them, people in various roles, not just trading, brokers, risk managers, analysts. But I found myself deviating more and more towards what was my community, which was traders. So I worked for a number of years with, you say, professional traders, bank traders, hedge fund traders, and then progressively retail traders. That wasn't my audience for many years, but they started calling me, so 3 or 4 years ago, I started getting a few retail traders calling me, and then we started a podcast, which was the Alpha Mind podcast with Mark Randall, who you've just had on recently, and who you've been a guest on. And by the time this might be up, that episode might be out, and it was a great episode we recorded. So you could say that where I come from, which is slightly different, is I've been in the shoes of traders. I've got the bruises. I've been beaten up several times by the markets, and I was still standing. So I know what they've been through.
I was going to say that's probably one of the most important aspects of having a trading coach, if you will, is saying, "Hey, you've been there, you've done it, you've had the bad trades, you've had the good trades, you've done it all."
I've had my gut wrenched out and pulled out through both sides of my body and twisted around and then stuffed back in there. That's what markets do to you, right?
I'm glad we can laugh and smile about it right now, but you are 100% correct.
Yeah.
So over the last 10 years, I'm hearing you've morphed into, moving from a lot of institutional to some retail traders, more recently, but it does sound like you're more than just a trading coach. It sounds like it to me that you go deeper than that, because where does it really start for a trader?
I tell people I don't do the technical stuff. I don't do the skill stuff. That's more what a mentor would do. People come to me. It's about who they are. It's the person behind the trader. Yeah. It's about the performance of a trader. It's around them understanding what the job is, who they are, how they bring themselves to the job, the process side of it. I talk about these 3 lenses, which is how you should look at trading. And one lens is the technical knowledge, fundamental element, the tangible stuff, the stuff you can learn, how you look at markets, how you understand markets, how you find value, how you price value, how your understanding of market direction,
Yeah.
where you're looking for risk reward in the job. That's quite a technical aspect. And we do our analysis, we follow the prices, we hear different people's opinions, we read information. That's quite tangible, that's quite easy to learn. Everyone can do that. We can all become pretty good at that.
Sure.
The next part is the performance lens. But that's the part no one really works on, or if they do work on, they give very little attention to. But that is the game. That is the whole game. The other bit doesn't really, it matters, but it's not the game, and that's the bit that people do not work on and develop. And then there's a third lens, which is the self lens, because there's someone doing all that, and that's you, and people, they put even less attention to developing themselves.
I was just going to say that's got to be the one that gets the least amount of attention from traders. Is what's happening in here, right?
And then all three lenses overlap. They're not unique. They're not independent. You have to be strong in all three of them. So there's this overlap, which is a focus, and that becomes the focus of good trading. So I work very much, I would say, on the whole. I would work predominantly on the self, then next is the process, but I also work on bringing that analysis. I don't teach people analysis. I don't talk about a particular stock or a commodity or a bond or a currency price. They get that from someone else, a mentor or a system they've learned. It's about bringing all that together in a combined process that they can make into something that works for them. And I had that, funnily enough, 15 years into my career. I managed to last 15 years somehow, keeping my head above water. Some good years, some bad years. And then I was a beneficiary of this coach that I worked with, who took me through that journey. And the next 10 years, I suddenly fulfilled all my potential as a trader. And that's kind of what I do now. I work with people and helping them fulfill their potential.
So let me ask you this. You've been with you and Mark Randall, and by the way, that was a really fun interview for me and hopefully for Mark as well. And I think for people to watch it, we've had a lot of people watch that particular video. But you've only been partnered up with Mark for the last couple of years. So what's your core business that you have that runs, I guess, in parallel with Alpha Mind?
Well, that's the business I call Alpha R Cubed.
Okay.
AlphaRcubed.com if you want to check it out. That's really the performance coaching, the executive coaching, the trader development work, portfolio management development work. That's what I've built up over the last 10 years. I have a couple of collaborations. So one is Alpha Mind with Mark. I also collaborate with another coach in the markets. And I have a couple of other collaborations with other people, not always working with people in the financial markets. It's working with people in business generally, leadership, development, lots of different areas. I have a little bit of voluntary work I do on the side as well, where I coach some charities who need some, they need some help, but you want to make sure that the money that they raise goes into the charitable causes they follow.
Sure.
So, I have these arms to what I do. But, they're all different elements of the same thing, which is personal development, trader development, human development of the person. Okay,
well, let me ask you this then. Based on your experience, and this is something that, I want traders that are watching this right now to be able to identify with this. Based on your experience, your sampling, obviously with not, finding any specific cases of somebody that you've worked with, what would you say is the most common, I don't want to call it a trait, but what is the most common thing that you see about traders that need help? Where could you say, oh, that's pretty common, I see that more often than not?
Okay. So someone called me up yesterday. He said, he's been trading for quite a few years, works in a prop firm. He says, look, I've just got this problem with my discipline, my ability to stay focused, pull the trigger, to to not overtrade, and then sometimes, it's all these things. And I said, you are 99.9% of everyone else that I speak to. And I said, the irony is that you've probably got lots that's really good about what you do. You've been doing this for a few years. You're obviously successful. You want to become better. That's basically what you want. And that's what people come to coaching for. They don't really come to coaching because they're failing. They come to coaching because they realize they can achieve more. They've got more potential. Sure. And they're not fulfilling it. That's what sports people use coaching for. You're a guy who's playing tennis and you want to get better. You don't go there because you're failing. You go there because you can go up a notch or two or even three, and you look at the pro players, they have teams of coaches. Everyone has a higher level, but they can't get there on their own. They need support. They need to work with people. They need help, and they want to invest in that.
That's huge, and that's a really, really key point that you bring in there. I mean, I think traders think for some weird reason that, I'll be able to trade and I can do this on my own, and I don't need to, subscribe to some research, and I don't need some self-help. I can just read a book here and there, and I can watch CNBC and I'll be fine.
Yeah, think of a development curve, and I'm trying to think which way your viewers are looking at this. But it goes up very sharply and quickly in the early days of trading. A lot of people make some good money, some successes in the first 6 months or first year, and then it goes, oof, and it comes all the way back down, and they're like, damn, this is a lot harder than I thought. Okay, there's some sort of realization, some dawning that, maybe I've been lucky until now, or maybe I just hit a good wave to start with.
Sure.
And then there's this long, slow, often a multi-year development journey that goes like that. It goes upwards slowly. And over time, you become better at it. Things start to make sense. You start to develop some winning habits. That takes a long time. Now, what happens for a lot of people is they're not going to last it. They're going to run out of money. They're going to run out of support. They're going to run out of goodwill. All those things that they need to last that learning journey. And the learning journey is really important. I meet a lot of guys who could have made it, but didn't because they ran out of time or money, capital. They needed, a wife or a girlfriend said, we need to keep this roof over our head. We need food on the table.
Sure.
You've got to pay my gym membership. I want to go on holiday. I want a Christmas present. All those things. And you're running out of time. So the question is, how do you accelerate that learning journey? How do you make it quicker? And that's what coaching does. That's what people use in sport. That's what people use in leadership and development. That's what, you're a military man. The military does basic training and then accelerated training for all those purposes. Right. It's to accelerate what is a long process and make it happen. No one becomes a fighter pilot overnight, let alone weeks and months. It takes years, right? And what they do is they try and accelerate that process, and they use their own forms of coaching. That's what coaching is. It's just, if you can get that process quicker, you can get to that point a little bit faster, then you're more likely to survive the journey.
That makes so much sense to me, and I'm sure it does to everybody that's listening in from home or office. So let me ask you this, from a takeaway as a trader, what have you found that has accelerated performance the easiest for most? So what is your most common tweak that you've given a trader, or your sample size of traders that you've worked with over the years? What is that one thing you can say that's a pretty common denominator that has really helped across the curve the most?
Okay, this is probably going to sound a little bit flippant, but helping them to let go. That phrase.
I don't think so. So yeah. Elaborate.
Well, I tell people that, I'm probably really a letting go coach, and getting people to let go of the things that are holding them back, those chains that are holding them down, that are binding them back. And they're not always from trading. They're often from life. They're often from their early years, their early experiences. They're their fears, they're their greed, they're their fear they're going to miss out. They're their self-doubts. they're unhealthy beliefs. That, that belief that I just have to find the best analysis or the best system. That's all I need. And, and their belief that that next trade is the one that's going to make all the money, that's going to, buy them that Lamborghini that's going to be parked out there at the end of the week. That they can become a millionaire overnight. All these really unhelpful beliefs and behaviors and habits. Trading is a process, and it's a performance art, and it's got so many different aspects and facets. And we do, we create these attachments which just cause so much damage.
It's like baggage, right?
Yes. But they're not easy. They're within us.
Sure.
They're deep within us. They're not. They don't even reveal themselves until you start exploring it.
Yeah.
So if the greatest traders I work with, I call them masters of letting go. Some of them are unbelievable. But they almost make it, without calling it letting go, their arch practice. It's the number one kind of attribute. And people think there is this way you've got to be as a trader. You've got to be super risk-seeking or, super, systematic. No, I meet people who are really risk-averse. I meet people who are really excitable and intense, who achieve great performance as traders. It's not about that. It's you've got to be who you are. You've got to bring yourself to the job, the best of yourself. Okay, so it's just letting go of these hang-ups, and that's not easy to do because we don't even know what they are.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you as a coach are going to be working with traders. You work with traders to identify those things and what those might be, those little triggers.
Yeah. And you know what? It's not easy to find. When we do this coaching, we have a series of conversations. I use some models which I've brought in, which, help unpick the bones of their trading and unpick what's going on at a deeper level, and it doesn't reveal itself easily. And actually, most of us are resisting revealing that because that's quite an uncomfortable place a lot of the time to go to.
It sure is. Well, Stephen, I want to say that, spending this time with you, that my biggest takeaway is, hey, to be a better me, to be a better trader, sometimes I just got to let go. And, to find out more about what you do in your podcast, which, by the way, I know you and Mark interviewed me on your podcast. I'm looking forward to listening to it myself. And I know some of our traders are going to be listening to that as well. But how do you find out more about you and what you do?
Right. So just go to Alpha R Cubed. That's the word alpha, the letter R for risk, and cubed.com. Or go to alpha-mind.net, which is the partnership I have with Mark. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at AlphaMind101. Mark is at AlphaMind102. He's a coach as well as, and there's a lot of stuff that we do between us, and we both do stuff individually as well.
Sure.
LinkedIn, Stephen Goldstein, just connect with me on there. I've got a group as well. We've got a group, Alpha Mind group. Those are the avenues that you can reach me through.
So that the podcast that you do, how often do you do those?
We've kind of, originally we were 2 weeks apart. Now we're kind of moving it to 3 weeks apart because, as you know, that's quite intense.
Yeah, it is.
When you're trying to do a job as well, and I do a little bit of trading still on the side. It's just a hobby. It's not a living, but I like to keep my hand in. So occasionally I'm watching markets as well. So trying to balance all these things with life as well, and family and friends. It takes a lot of time. So we moved it to 3 weeks apart. But we've got some great people coming up on it over the next few months. I won't mention any names yet because we're still just finalising them, but the people who are going to, bring some really great conversations to our audience and to people out there.
Well, that's awesome. And well, I look forward to our next conversation. Maybe what we can talk about the next time that we meet is, when you're talking about that trader curve, when they first, they hit their peak, then they come down. I'm assuming there are certain events in the markets that you've seen over the years that create those types of curves for a lot of traders, whether you're talking about, the crypto spike and then fall back in, 2017, 2018, or .com bubbles, or, those types of events that actually create that in traders. So I'm excited for maybe the next time that we can speak and talk a little bit in more detail about that.
Yeah, absolutely. The black swans.
All right. Well, Steve, thank you so much for your time today. I know all the traders here at Trader Summit are getting a lot from this conversation. Remember, you can click down below in the link of this video to get to Stephen Goldstein himself, and also get to some of your podcasts that you've posted on Trader Summit as well. So thank you so much again for spending your time with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and some great questions as well.
All right. We'll have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.